From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
Well, Thursday morning, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day, going shoulder to shoulder to make sure that we can save this country, all right? It's about America first. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, an appeals court has given the Trump administration the green light to revoke deportation protections for thousands of people here illegally. Another win for you. Number two, Gallup has decided to stop doing polling on presidential approval ratings after 90 years. Seems odd, doesn't it? Wonder why that is. Maybe the numbers they're pumping out are garbage. Huh. And number three, time to focus on some good news today. All right? The jobs report in. Exceeding expectations even with the slashing of government jobs. This after the stock market hit all-time highs over the past few days, passing 50,000, which I told you it would. House Speaker Mike Johnson. Here he is on promises made, promises kept. Listen.
Under Republican leadership, the U.S. economy has consistently grown and far exceeded all the expectations that they told us that would happen. The CBO and others were way off. And the tangible, immediate benefits of our policies are indisputable. Interest rates are down. Inflation is down. Gas prices are significantly decreased and have hit all-time lows in decades. Tax rebates are at an all-time high. You got tens of millions of American families will be able to keep more of their money in their own pockets. And all of that was by design. We made promises. We're keeping our promises. By every conceivable metric, Americans are better off today under Republican governance than they were under the Democrats. And these trends are only going to continue.
They're only going to continue. Comparing the economy now to where it was 4 years ago is really one of the most staggering realizations. Inflation got to 9.1% in 2022. And in 2025, core inflation hovered near 2.6%, one of the lowest core readings in years. And overall inflation in 2025 was the lowest it's been in 5 years. Donald Trump remembers inheriting a total mess from Joe Biden. He's glad to prove the naysayers wrong by turning it around. Here's the president.
I remember when I first won, they said, if he gets the Dow up to 50,000 by the end of his fourth year, he will have done miracles. And we're at the end of the first year. So when you think about it, that's great. And the S&P, the same thing. And everything else. I mean, everything's going great. We inherited a total mess from Biden, and not only the borders, but the economy, the inflation. The inflation was the worst ever in history. They say 48 years, but basically ever in history. And prices were high, and you don't hear them use the word affordability anymore. They can't use it because we brought the prices down. Oil now, I was in Iowa last week, and they were at $1.85 a gallon. And if you go all over the country, in many cases now it's broken $2 a gallon. And that's like a major tax cut. Yeah, and we've given them that too in the great big beautiful bill. So we've had a very good run, and we want to keep it going.
Now, I also remember all the people last year who kept saying over and over again that Donald Trump was going to drive this country right into a recession. I remember just how freaked out they all wanted us to be under the leadership of a man who turned our economy around once 10 years ago and is doing it again now. Listen to all the critics who said, oh, we're going into a recession. Donald Trump's going to destroy the economy. Here they are.
That these tariffs are going to be passed on to American consumers and are going to slow down the economy.
Absolutely. So my guess is we're heading towards a recession. I think that's what you.
So we're headed toward a recession because of Trump's policies.
Donald Trump is clearly crashing the economy in real time, and he's driving us toward a recession.
Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump is teeing up a nationwide recession.
Off, and that's what worries me most, because we're on the road to both inflation and recession.
And you wonder why I warned you time and again, do not listen to these people. Those folks had no warning signs to flash when Biden was driving our economy actually into the ditch. So you should never trust them when they speak about Trump's economic policies. Never trust them. Of course, there's still room for improvement, which is why Trump and Mike Johnson have committed to keep this going. A new Fed chair might be what makes all the difference. Trump has tapped Kevin Warsh as his pick for the position. And if we cut rates, GDP is going to skyrocket. Lower interest rates always mean more economic activity. It's a better deal for you. And of course, more economic activity isn't always a good thing, but it is when it's paired with job growth and productivity, both of which we're seeing. 130,000 jobs added in January, which is higher than anyone expected. In fact, it's double what the so-called experts had to say. Some said just 35,000 were going to be added. 130,000 new jobs. Here's National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on the latest numbers.
Labor force participation, the percentage of Americans that are looking for a job or have a job, actually went to its highest level since 2001. So actually people are coming back off the sidelines into the labor market because they see the high wage growth, all the factory starts and so on. And so that's thing one. Thing two is that because we've been reducing government workers, federal government workers so much, about 360,000 this year, that the jobs numbers actually kind of understate how wonderful the economy is doing because the government worker employment has been a drag. And to put it in perspective, that we've got the lowest government worker number since 1966 and the lowest share of government workers in the labor force in all of history. And so we have done something really, really dramatic in downsizing government. And what that does is it helps us be fiscally responsible and get interest rates lower. Now, the bottom line is that I've been saying on your show really since we started over a year ago, Stu, that I think that we're going to have a big positive supply shock and that we could have high growth and low inflation. Right now, we've got high growth and low inflation, and I think there's plenty of room for the Fed to cut rates.
Now, this is what happened in the 1990s. Rates were lowered while job growth and productivity were on the rise. In America, well, we profited greatly. We prospered. Unemployment was at a historic low. GDP was at a historic high. And America actually reduced its deficit, produced a budget surplus during that time. What a magical idea. Much of the growth was driven by the dawn of the internet. Technological revolution can do that. We're on the cusp of the same thing right now with AI. Productivity is remarkably up thanks to Trump's tax cuts and deregulation, but also thanks to technological change, which is, again, a result of Trump's policies. AI is the future. You and I may not like all of it, and I certainly don't, but that's okay. We as a nation have to be smart about it, and Trump sees that. And he's formalized a national AI policy focus since he stepped foot in the White House, some of which involves reducing barriers to development and encouraging the expansion of infrastructure right here in the United States. The administration has attracted trillions of dollars in tech and AI investment in the U.S., according to its own reports, and it's working. We could repeat the success of the 90s without the dot-com crash. Without the dot-com crash. Wouldn't that be something? Dow 50,000. Everything else looking good. More good news after the break. Good morning. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Now, to be fair, as we continue this conversation, a lot has changed. Boy, a lot has changed since the 1990s in a lot of ways. But back then, markets were pricing in technological revolution before the profits even existed. Today, markets are pricing in an AI revolution, but based on companies that are already generating massive cash flow. You pair this with lower interest rates, and we could see another economic boom. Rick Santelli over at CNBC, pretty psyched up about all this. Love this guy. Here he is.
I'm going to say that nobody's going to rain on my parade, and these numbers are what they are, and 50K. I made this hat 2 months ago, and the reason I made it is for exactly a day like today. All these naysayers steeped in politics continue to be negative. That's okay. Because 50K says you've all been wrong. You keep from going in the water even though it's very hot outside. I say all the investment gurus out there, jump in the markets in the U.S. because global GDP. is going to take a big ramp up, and the U.S. is leading the way.
All good things. All good things. 130,000 jobs added, and wage growth is up 3.7%, while inflation is only 2.7%. That's real earnings for real Americans. It's a real difference. There's no question about it. This is a chart that deserves a lot of attention. It represents real weekly earnings for America. And the average American's weekly paycheck, adjusted for inflation, shrunk 4% under Biden. That's the orange. But now, it's estimated to have surged 2% during Trump's first year back in office. Stephen Moore boils it all down to cash in your pocket. Here he is.
If you look over the period from when Trump came into office through December, we estimate the average family income is up by about $2,500 after inflation. So that's a big number. So that means not only do we have good job growth, but we have people earning more. I mean, it's kind of a beautiful picture when you really think about it.
Yeah, it is a beautiful picture indeed. It's better than it has been in a long time. Here's some more beautiful pictures for you. Take a look at this chart. That's federal employment. The number of people working for the federal government at its lowest level since, get this, 1966. And like Kevin Hassett said, the lowest level in recorded history as a share of the total workforce. Trimming back, 360,000 jobs eliminated. And yet our job numbers go up. Here's an even better graph to put it in perspective. The green represents private sector jobs. The blue represents government jobs. The left was at the end of Joe Biden's presidency, and the right, the Trump presidency. Trump was handed an economy that was losing private sector jobs and adding government job to the payroll, to your tax bill. But he successfully flipped the script, and 1 year later, it's all private sector growth while cutting government jobs. It's pretty remarkable. Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez DeRemer says she's not as surprised as the rest of the so-called experts are, but it's because she's seen just how dedicated this administration is to making it all work. Here she is.
People say their expectations, well, we were surprised, but really when I think about it, we've added construction jobs are up, manufacturing jobs are up, and that's been a testament to the investments of $18 trillion that the president has negotiated and brought back to the American people and the American economy. I've mentioned I have been on the road. I'm going to visit my 48th state tomorrow out of the 50-state tour. We're seeing the application of what the workforce is being offered by their employees. They're investing in hiring.
Yeah. That's one more angle that deserves attention when it comes to our economy. It's not just the things that Trump is creating and improving. It's also the terrible things he's putting a stop to. One of those is our acquisition of our farmland by foreign nations, adversaries. I've warned about that so many times on this program, and the Trump administration taking it seriously, thankfully. For all the investment that our nation has attracted in the last year, we don't need that investment to be in the form of scooping up our ground. And Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins understands that. Here's another win from this week. Listen to this.
I believe the ranking member does not understand the definition of generalized.
That before President Trump came into office, the consolidation of our farmlands, the foreign adversarial ownership of farmlands, especially from China and other places, has really been creeping up on our country. Now we have almost 300,000 acres owned by China. Of course, a lot of our food supply and food sources are now foreign, come from foreign sources. And we're working to reverse that while at the same time protecting our farmers, protecting our farmland from our foreign adversaries. So it's just another step in the right direction. I'm so proud of Secretary Hegseth. He has leaned all in on this, as has the president, and we're going to keep fighting for our American farmers and ranchers.
And that right there is something to celebrate all on its own, but that's not the only thing that the Trump administration has protected our country against. Obviously, the border has been a key focus over the last year with great success, but not just for our national security. It will also have an impact on the American dream of owning a home. Secretary Bessent was able to point out that point to Maxine Waters the other day during a finance committee hearing. Listen.
I believe the ranking member does not understand the definition of generalized inflation versus one-time price increases. I would also note that housing, especially for working Americans, a Wharton study has shown that the mass unfettered immigration, adding 10 to 20 million new people demanding housing, Congresswoman, is what caused a great deal of housing inflation for working Americans. So you and the Biden administration should be ashamed.
Yeah, they should be ashamed. So today you can go ahead, break out the happy dance, because slowly but surely, This current administration is delivering wins for every American, even the ones who want to see Donald Trump lose. Here's what I like about longevity wellness. It's simple and it works. One daily shake delivers protein, collagen, omega-3s, probiotics, and colostrum, supporting your gut, joints, brain, and immune system. No gimmicks, no clutter, just clean science. Good stuff, by the way. Backed up nutrition for the people who want to feel better every day. Right now, you can get a special discount. Go to longevitywellness.co. Use the promo code Gruber. That's longevitywellness.co, promo code Gruber. And if you get a subscription, you'll save even more money. We use it in this house every day. The QR code is right there. Now, coming up after the break, a special preview of the brand new podcast, Forgotten America, hosted by myself and Ivy. Our first guest, well, we'll keep it a secret until after the break. First guest, sneak preview. Forgotten America. Sign up to YouTube right now. Become a subscriber. Like it. And you'll get it all for free, all right? I'll be right back.